Hey YouTubers, what's going on? Hope you're having a good day. Got some FT-8 stuff going on over here there. Not much happening on 10 meters, but I leave it running because it rolls in every now and then. But I'm going to step you through some settings on this that I found out for that. And some things you don't even need. I was using the dual VFO on that, and no, that wasn't. It was working, but a lot of headache, a lot of setup, and settings were different on the screen. So I switched it to, let me show you, mode none and split operation. My rig does it, but I don't use it now because it's kind of useless on FT-8. But I switched to mode none and split operation none, and then I'm using the cat, and then everybody's COM port's gonna be different, right? But there's my baud rate, all default. Okay, and then other than that, that's it. There's my settings for that. Okay, that way you guys can come back to it. And the baud rate one, okay, I pick a baud rate for my radio, whatever rate my radio will do max, and then I set that for all my programs, RT systems, everything. So that's what I do there. And then there's my settings I had to change. Now this one on 33, you can do either or. It didn't affect mine at all. So I left it at default I went ahead and disabled it. I can't remember what default is, but I disabled mine. That's why I circled it for you. If the rest of these, if they're marked default, they're just blue on the screen for your 991A. And here's another 171. I switched it to the default of DACI or RTS. It still worked either way. 72 I had to change. Now, if you guys are running your radio, right, your 991A, and your whenever you transmit, go to transmit, and it's the radio switching to upper sideband. These are some settings you want to change there. For 108, I could use either one, default or RTS, but you do want to change these settings if you're doing that. You don't have to do it that way, guys. I quit using my my dual VFO on there. I quit using that for split operation, because look at I basically cut my settings down to just these ones that are not marked default. That was it. And then it worked fine, and that was setting it to none on the mode and none on split operations. Now what I found out was, right, okay guys, on your radio there, you notice it says DU, okay? When you transmit and you're in mode, is in data USB, right? That's what we use for FT-8, okay? If your data mode, if your radio is transmitting and it's going to upper sideband, then that's because you've got that setting right there set to USB, okay? If you set it to none, set your radio to the data USB one, right? If you set your radio to none, you'll stay in DU mode, and you can set your power buttons without having to switch between USB and DU mode. It'll transmit right here in DU mode, okay, without switching to upper sideband when you transmit on FT-8. Just a hint for you guys. I learned that because I started out with my rig supports dual VFO, so that's what I did. I run split operations. But then I found out you got to go over here and change all these numbers of settings. They were different. This is what they're set to now. So I don't recommend you run the transmit through upper sideband on FT-8, because what happened was with mine, okay, when it switches from DU mode to upper sideband to transmit on FT-8, then all these buttons change. So if you didn't go into upper sideband, let me show you. Oop, that's CU, missed it. Okay, look, my power rating is different. So you're gonna realize real quick, oh man, why am I transmitting it, you know, 50, 100 watts or whatever, instead of what it says on the DU mode. Okay, right, 25 watts. So I was having to switch back and forth to the USB, and then my buttons were all changing down here because it was the radio was switching to upper sideband to transmit, and that's because that was enabled USB right there. Now I switched it to the data and packet one, and it fixed it. Okay, but then I had to still have all these settings different, all these different, and then these were different. You had to switch it to RTS, and so I was like, man, why am I doing all this? So what I did was, I just by trial and error switched it to none. Okay, as soon as I did that, it stayed in DU mode when it transmitted, and then I could set all my buttons down here correctly. Okay, so just a hint for you guys on that. Okay, if you're running the 991A, and you can run it just fine. I made 2 contacts when it was switching to upper sideband mode, and it worked. But look at all the settings I had to change. Whenever I switched it to none, you can pretty much wipe out half of that list right there of settings you got to change. I think I only changed like 33, or no, 32 had to be changed from default, and 72 and 62, and I think that was it. 66 maybe, yeah, 66. So like five changes on my menu, in the menu options, and now the radio don't switch back and forth from USB to DU when it's transmitting, and I don't have near the problems with the with making contacts. I actually get more contacts because I don't know. It's weird. So that's why I switched, guys. I went back, quit using the dual VFO mode, or the rig mode, the split operation mode, and just go back to none. And make sure you're using CAT if you're using a USB. If you're using a 232 cable, come on guys, get a USB cable. Get with the times. But if you are, RTS or DTR is what you use. If you got one of them old cables. So other than that, you know, this setting here under general, just put your call sign in, and then your audio, that's just the audio drivers that it created when you plugged in your USB cable. So one of them's enhanced. Oh yeah, the enhanced driver goes here from your device manager, and your standard one goes here. Don't get those reversed. Okay, with that being said, now let's take a look at the loop. Look what I did with that bad boy. Figure 8. And it transmits. I've got making lots of contacts. It done that figure of 8. Let me show it off to you guys, I guess, so you can see how the connection is. There you go. I connected it right in the middle. Okay, so basically the top loop comes down, connects to the bottom loop, And it comes up, well, what that is, guys, is 10 meter. It's that same loop that I've always had, but I needed some more length to get 10 meter because 6 meter, I can't transmit on 6 meter here. It wipes out everything. So now I put the figure of 8 loop in there. Now you might think, man, that's got to mess up that, but it doesn't. It doesn't mess up the transmit at all. I've been transmitting on FT-8 with it. Okay, that's what it's on right now. It's on 10 meter. Just scrolling through 10 meter, little by little. So I'll switch it to 40 here, and I want to show you about the receive. FT-8 was kind of I was thinking about playing with it a long time back when I was watching the YouTube videos before I started doing ham, and I knew that a Magloop would work real well for that. So that's why I was the big loop, okay, works at 30 all the way up to 80, okay. And then we can switch it over and go to the figure 8 loop, okay, the smaller figure 8 loop, and I can switch that over now. And what I did was I used to be able to get 20 through 21 or 20 meters all the way up to 17, I think, or no, oh man. Oh, here we go. I used to be able to get settings are open. On the small little loop, I used to be able to get all the way from 15 meters, okay? And I needed more capacitance to get up to 10 meters, okay? Or less capacitance to get up to 10 meters. So what I did was, and I'll show you, switch that back there. My capacitor has this one at the top, the little capacitor, okay, is a dual capacitor. You can see where it's split. See how it has two? It's two of them put together, okay? And to short them, what I did was I put a bar there, okay? And what that did was it shorted it. It made it a 0 to 100 puff, okay? So I took the short out of it and made it a 0 to 50 puff. It's only using one of these capacitors, okay? And the difference is, and I'll show you, it's split right here and it's insulated, okay? And the shaft is split, okay? See the shaft, it's split, so there's no connection, okay? This one, the big one down here, if you notice, that shaft is solid all the way through, right there. So there's no way that this one's a one-piece capacitor. That's what you get, okay? This one here you can actually adjust on, okay? It's a transmit capacitor just like that one is, a transmitting capacitor, and that means these fins are further apart. But this one's a dual. So what I did was I dropped the capacitance down, okay? And it moved it from 12 meters and up. It moved it from 12 meter to 15 meter, but it also moved it in the band, okay, over into 10. And that's what we're sitting on right now, on 10 meter. So on the scope, what you see is a little bitty peak. See it? That's all it is. But, well, if you turn the preamps on, okay, turned it on to 1 there. Now you got a nice big old peak, see? But, and I'm going to give you a hint, guys, while we're here on the radio. Let me bend down here. Okay, if you're on FT-8 with your 991, don't use your IPO. You can use amp 1 if you want to, but the more I turned it on, the less contacts I got. And set your wide to 3K, okay? And your width should always be down there, because when I turn mine on, it goes down to like 50. So turn your AGC off. Some of the videos tell you turn your AGC to auto. Don't do it. I turned my AGC off and it brought the modulation volume way up, and that was getting me more signals coming in. So turn the AGC off, turn the noise blanker, everything off, okay? Attenuator, all that. Now let's go to the next screen. Okay, everything off. Notch, everything, digital noise, everything off when you're FT-8ing. Okay, and that's about the best advice I can give you. Don't use your IPO unless you have to. Unless there's one way out there and you're like the only one in there, and because you're going to add more noise. Okay, now I'm only transmitting 25 watts into the Magloop. Okay, now your DT gain, guys, my radio likes 10. But that's my Magloop. If you put it on a different antenna, you might change. But try to keep that DT gain lower, okay, so that you can adjust the power there. You want to try to use as much as you can there and as little as you can here, because if you drop that down any at all, it drops your power way down. So it's a constant fight between your DT gain and that power slide bar. You want to try to keep that power slide bars up as high as possible, guys. Okay, that's a good learning lesson there for you. So my radio like 10 with that Magloop. So there's a hint for you guys. All right, so now this is on the figure 8 loop. It's kind of tuned for it'll go down to 17 and then stops about 17 meters. Goes up to 10. I can get into 11 with it, because I was listening to the guys on CB range with it. But I needed a Magloop, a 10 meter, so I went ahead and I thought, well, I need to add length to that. So I thought, well, I was watching Mike, MOM something. I can't remember his name. Sorry for butchering it, dude. He's over in England, and he made this huge figure 8 Magloop. And so I thought, man, I could do that. And it transmits just fine inside that big one. That big one just says, oh, okay, go ahead and do your transmitting. And but let's jump over here and I'll show you what it does because we can change drop our noise floor out. Watch what happens. So let's jump over here to 40, okay? And I'm going to mount you up here, guys, okay? So that this camera won't shake me as bad for you. Because I want you to see, right now on 10, there's not much action. If you're a tech, guys, get your FT-8 on 10. You can FT-8 all you want on 10 meters, all you want. You can't do anything above 10 other than CW. So we're going to go to the general range up here on 40. I'm going to switch it over here. And I want you to hear it. That way you'll hear the difference. Okay. I'm not going to change I'm going to change the antenna to the big loop. You heard the click. And we're going to go down over here and change it to 40. Oh yeah, they're here. This is where it's at, guys. 40 and 80, man, it's blowing up. 22. 20 also, I should say. Okay. Now, I'm going to leave the volume up a little bit. And unfortunately, I'm right underneath this guy's noise. So whenever I switch this, you'll see. Now, I'm checking here to make sure that the preamp is off. Okay, so we're on the big loop now. Okay, now this is what's cool about having the secondary loop. And I'm gonna switch it over. Definite drop in modulation. Okay, Now I'm going to bump the IPO, the preamp, because we dropped our noise out of there. Now I can bump up the amp, and on our next transmission you should see a big long list, because we got our preamp on our already noise floor drop smaller loop, and it's still working on 40 meters like it should. Look at how long that list is. Now we picked that. That's a lot. That's grid tracker running in the background. Okay. You want to run grid tracker for sure, guys. That's an awesome program. But look at all that FT-8 action on 40. Those are all pinks, or all people calling CQs. That's amazing. But now let me go back to the big loop. Now we got a preamp on. Now you hear the sound, it's just, you hear how it's overmodulating? Okay. Now we'll have to shut our preamp off. Okay. So if I'm running the big loop, if I'm on the big loop, I don't run any preamp. But if I go to that smaller loop, drop all the noise floor out, hit that preamp, boy, it brings all that digital signal right in. It is awesome. I guess I'm gonna have to go get my general license so I can start working some of this. And I do want to tell you guys, though, I did get south of Brazil, southern Brazil, all the way down there at the tip of the equator, with the Magloop, running 25 watts yesterday. So, and that was on 10 meters. Let me go back to 10. It's a little bit quieter. Now, I'm going to show you. I'm going to drop it down to the little loop. Okay, we're on the little loop. You can see it's still working, correct? Without changing anything, I'm just going to drop it right down to 10. And if they were transmitting there, you'd hear them. But they're not. So, I wouldn't even have to change the antenna. You see what I mean? I can still use that small loop down on 40 and 80, drop the noise floor out, kick up the preamp, and boom, man, it just starts ripping people in. But yeah, where my contact was way down there. That dude there, I think, that was yesterday, a little over 5,000 miles there to that one. So that one was pretty awesome. That I didn't expect that off that Magloop being inside. And I talked to California. I got like probably 10 contacts in California, Washington yesterday with this Magloop sitting in my bedroom. So that's awesome. And like I said, I love being able to switch over to the smaller loop when I'm on the big loop, when I'm down up in lower frequencies, switching to that littler loop, knocking all the noise floor out, and then running the preamp. I can't wait to start transmitting with that. But I wanted to show you the transmit on 10. I can transmit there. So we'll fire it up. I don't know if you want to, I tuned it. Let me check it. Make sure. Oops. Yep, 1.2 on the standing wave. A little over 23 watts. So let's enable. And no, I better not. I better not do that. I've got that Magloop set wrong right now. I just now thought of that. Okay, yeah, we won't be doing that, guys, or else I'm gonna blow up my yeah, we can't do that yet. But you see that it works. I got it all working. I made some contacts on 10 meter a lot yesterday. I've been listening a lot on 40, and I wanted you guys to be able to see the loop working and my settings that I made on my radio, because you might change yours. But let me pick you up here. So yeah, I just wanted you to see how that loop was hooked up. Okay, so basically it was one loop, and I added another loop in there, just in a figure of 8. And I even had it in a figure of 0, 0, like double aught, where it was one loop here, one loop there, and it knocked the transmit. Transmit wasn't all that great with it, so I changed it to an 8, figure of 8, and that really brought the transmit in. And then, like I said, I took the short out to take it from 100 puff down to 50 puff, and that brought in 10 meters. Yeah, I don't know if I might get me some same size wire and make it nicer there. May make it a little bigger, help my receive in on 10 meter a little bit more. You can see the one, it's just a little off-sized. That one's a little smaller than that one, but it was just enough length for me to get in, move it on the band to get into 10 and be able to transmit. And I was going to show you 2 meter, but man, there is not a lot of FT-8 on 2 meters. That's just didn't go very far, so I kind of give up on that. I did get a couple contacts. My first contact was on 2 meter, 7 miles away. So that's whenever I said I need something that works on 10. And I tried a 6 meter, and it wiped out the television for the whole building, guys. 6 meter just absolutely kills a lot of things in this apartment I live in. So I cannot transmit 6 meter at all. But I found out 10. I can transmit on 10, and it doesn't affect anything. So that was a plus. So I moved from 6 to 10 now. And so now we're set up for 10 meter on this figure of 8, and our 40 through or 30 through 80 on our big loop. So then, like I said, running them together into a switch over there, and it gives you a lot more advantage whenever you're in FT-8 for cutting noise out. Noise to signal ratio is very important in FT-8, more than it is radio, and to be honest. Because this is low propagation, that means you can hear a lot further away if you can drop your noise floor way out. So that's a big plus, being able to do that. That's another, for me where I live, this is perfect. I don't have to have it outside. I can leave it inside, transmit inside with it, and it transmits, well, yeah, let me show you. It's inside, guys, and I was transmitting 50 watts out of it. I'm not going to turn that up that much, because if I go to 50 watts, it starts affecting the subwoofer in my surround sound unit. So I'll leave it at about 25 watts and let her rip. And talking to California, got a guy down there in South America. So, you know, hey, it's contacts, so it's working. But anyway, guys, that's what I wanted to show you today. And if you want to come back to these settings, you can just fire up the video and bring it back. You can set your stuff up, set your 991A up, get it working. But there you go. There's FT-8 with the Magloop. So hope it helps, guys. Remember to like and subscribe, please. It helps. Alright, so 73s to y'all, and y'all take care.